I used to waste time manually adding scales to my drawings. So I'm gonna make my life easier by setting up Autocad to bring in all my scales with one click. So now I have my scale right there ready to go. I'll do the same procedure for the other most used civil scales. I'm gonna do for 20, 30, 40, 60, and so on with these factors. So I'm gonna do that really quick. So once you have that, I'm gonna open the location of this file, which is right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this drawing. I'm gonna save first, of course. I'm gonna save with Control S on my keyboard as the shortcut. So that way I can save what I just did. Going back to the drawing, this is the drawing that we just added the drawing scales. I'm gonna copy that with Control C. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to a folder that I can remember, of course. I'm gonna create a new folder. The new folder that I'm gonna create is gonna be drawing scales. Of course, you can name it as you wish, but I'm gonna paste that drawing with all of the drawing scales that I always use, which are architectural and civil. And I'm gonna name these scales or drawing scales. Right, drawing scales. Here we go. So now, what I can do is close this. Right, I can close that out, and you're gonna see that, of course, if you open a different drawing, um, you you're not gonna have, of course, the drawing scales over here that you just created. If we check here, you can see, that the civil scales are not here because when you create a scale, it's only saved on that actual drawing. But since we are streamlining this, so let's continue. So now that we have a folder with our drawing scales and a drawing, let's open that up. Of course, we don't need all of this information. I'm gonna simply erase. Gonna go to model space, select everything and delete. Of course, let's see if there are any extras or something. I'm gonna open my extra palette and try to erase whatever I don't need here. So that way it's nice and clean. All right, great. So, of course, I can purge also this drawing really quick. So I'm gonna purge that and say purge all. Of course, I'm gonna hit all and press enter. And to verify, I'm gonna say no, press enter. Here we go. So we have now clean our drawing, as you can see. I'm gonna simply save. Now, let's see what happens if we select our viewport and go over here. As you can see, these drawing skills have all of the skills that we always use. Now, let's try. Um, let's try to import this drawing with a custom command that we're gonna create. All right. So in order to do that, what I'm gonna do is open my tool palette with Control and 3. Now, you can see over here many custom commands that we have created here on the channel. These are also called macros. Um, anyway, so to create a macro, you can use the tool palette or you can use the command macros palette, AutoCAD also give us a brand new command macros palette, as you can see over here. Um, so they understood the importance of custom macros or commands, and now we have our own palette, which is great. But for this example, since probably not many folks are using the latest AutoCAD version, I'm gonna keep using the tool palette. Everyone has the tool palette, so there are no excuses for you to not save time. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna really quick draw a rectangle and click and drag that rectangle over here to my tool palette. All right. So the reason why I did this is so that I can right click and access the properties of this polyline. Of course, I'm gonna change the name. The name is all up to you, but I'm gonna call this command lazy scales. We can add a description, of course. Uh, the important section here is the command string. And if you try to modify that, we can't because we need to change this use flyout from yes to no. And that way we are able to tweak or modify this macro command. All right. So the way we're going to do it here is mm, by using first the CC, we're going to leave that because that's a way to cancel or stop any active command that you might be using. So it's always a good practice to leave those CC. Means cancel, cancel 2 times. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to insert using this symbol. That means whatever command I use next, in this case insert, we'll use the command line version of that command, meaning without windows or dialog boxes. All right. So of course I'll need to press enter with this semicolon. So all we're trying to do is activate the insert command. And now what we need to insert is we need to insert our path where this drawing is located. Of course, we're trying to insert this drawing that have all of our custom scales, so that way we always with one click can have our scales ready, right? We don't have to waste time. So this is the folder where our scales are. I mean, the folder and the drawing. So what I'm going to do is go over here and copy this path like so. And now I can go back over here and simply paste it like so. Now, let me expand this over here. Um, so in order for AutoCAD to recognize this path, we have to do a couple of things. First, we need to change all of these backslashes for the forward slash. Otherwise, AutoCAD won't recognize this path. So let's change that really quick, like so. Great. Second, what we need to do is put this path in quotations. So I'm gonna do that with this symbol and with this other symbol like so. Now, also, what we need to do is add our drawing file name. All right, so that's this over here. So let me go back to our drawing scales. So in order to do this, I can simply press F2 and copy that out. So that way I don't have any typos or something. So that way I can go here and simply add this forward slash and simply paste my name of my drawing that will have the extension DWG, of course, because this is a AutoCAD file. All right. So once we do that, let's test what we did so far. I'm gonna click OK because good practice when creating custom commands or macros, and we have created so many in this channel through the years, is testing, right? You don't want to keep adding and adding things and then realize nothing is working. So let's click OK now and let's see what happens. But before we click OK, we are missing over here an enter, right? Otherwise, AutoCAD mm, won't try to insert this. So I'm gonna press enter. Always the enter, of course, the same way you use a command in AutoCAD, right? You press an enter after each command. So I'm gonna click OK and let's see what we get. So I'm gonna test it really quick. Gonna click the lazy scale and we have something here on the command line. AutoCAD is activating the insert command, which is a good sign. So I'm gonna press F2 on my keyboard. So that way I can expand and see what's going on. We can see, oops, we can see that AutoCAD is activating the insert command. We are giving them the path. It says duplicate definition, arch ignore. That's fine. Space is SP space ignore. And that's just the fonts over here. All right. So now, if we continue manually and click a point like so and accept some of the prompts, we are gonna insert the drawing, right? But in reality, we don't want to insert physically the drawing here. All we want is to insert the drawing on the background so we have access to those drawing scales. That's all we want. We don't really want to insert it, right? So let's open the extra panel really quick to check that nothing was inserted. So that's good. So then what we can do is we're gonna go back to our code and change the properties. And we're gonna simply add one of these cancel options. I'm gonna copy that and simply paste it like so. Why? Well, because again, we want to insert this drawing, but in the background, we don't want to physically insert it. So at the moment where AutoCAD is asking me to click on my screen to insert the drawing, I'm gonna say, hey, cancel. All right. So I'm gonna click OK now. And now let's see what happened when we go to a different drawing. Of course, I'm not gonna test it here because we already have all of those scales that we need, civil as well as architectural. So, but let's go to a different drawing to test this command. Let's see, let's go to, sure, let's go to this one really quick. So what we can do here is, let's first check if we need some drawing skills, and yes. So as you can see, we don't have the civil scales on this drawing, which is usual. So it's not a problem. Now let's try to use our brand new lazy scales and cross fingers. So let's see if it works. Let's click on it. All right, looks like nothing happens. If we expand the F2 on our keyboard, so AutoCAD did its thing, inserted it, that drawing, that's good. But let's check, right? Let's see what's going on. So I'm gonna go over here and something has happened, but as you can see, AutoCAD, or we have now quickly inserted this scale. 1 inch equals 10 feet. That's part of the civil scales, and that's what we wanted. However, if we go to that drawing scales, we can see over here we have more civil scales that weren't inserted with the lazy scale command. And why is that? Well, I believe the reason is because if we select this viewport that is here inside this drawing, that's the scale that the viewport is currently on. And that was the only scale that was inserted to this other drawing with the lazy scales. That makes sense, right? So that means that if I want to insert the other scales, I will have to copy this viewport, right? And change to the other scales, like to 1 inch equals to 20, and keep copying and so on, right? So this will have to be 1 equal to 30, and I will have to keep doing this so that way we can insert it. So there gotta be a more efficient way, right? Uh, you can imagine if we have 20 different scales, you won't you don't want to do this one by one. So let's try to streamline that process too. So the way I'm gonna do it is um, I'm gonna create a text. So first of all, I'm gonna erase all of these viewports. I'm gonna create a text with the mtext command really quick, and I'm gonna place it right there. Of course, this text can be anything. I'm gonna say something like maybe drawing scales. So let's give it some time to AutoCAD. That okay. So let's say just to keep things um, consistent, I'm gonna call this drawing scales. All right, that's my drawing scales. Now, if we go to the property palette, there is an option over here that says mm, let's first change it to the standard one, right? So that way we don't import things that we don't want to use. So let's change it to standard, which is the standard style in AutoCAD. But the option that I want to change is the one that says annotative. It's currently no, but let's change it to yes. So let's move this text to model space. I'm gonna simply use the Control X option to go back, paste my text like so. So that way I have it there. Now, if I right click on it, I have the option now to add or delete scales. And if we select that option, I can quickly say add and simply select the scales that I want to show. So for instance, I want to add this, I can click OK. And of course, if I don't need any of those, I can simply hit delete. But the beauty of this is that I can quickly select all of them holding shift like so. And I can simply add it all at once like so. So that way we can streamline also that step. So once we have that, of course, we don't need viewports anymore because this piece of text have all of the drawing scales that we need. So what I'm gonna do is close and save this drawing, of course. And let's go back over here and test it now. If I select this viewport, you can see again that we only have this civil scale. But if we use our lazy scale command now, let's see what happens. Let's see over here. Let's select that. And nope, we still have a problem. It's not quite working. Let's do another test on a different drawing because that might be the problem also. So let me open another drawing. So I'm gonna let's open this drawing. Okay, so if I select this viewport, um, you can see that we don't have the civil scales, as you can see, 1 to 10, 1 to 20, and so on. So let's use our lazy scales command. Right, let's see now. And mm, nope, it's not working either. All right. So let's expand the command line with the F2 key on our keyboard to see um, what's the message or the error that we're getting, right? So let's see. So the command is using the insert option and giving the path. However, we see that it says block drawing skills references itself. And here we go. That's a mistake, an error in our part. And then we got invalid. All right. So let's try to fix that. Let's go back to our drawing scales, of course, over here. And again, is the error is coming because the drawing scales name is the same as this other folder. That's what I'm understanding from here. It says block drawing scales references itself. So let's try to change the name then. Let's change this to scales only, like so. And of course, let's erase that. So now this name is different from the folder that it's in. But we also need to change the name in our macro code. So let's do that really quick. Go to properties and change the name to be only scales. So that way we don't have any conflicting information. So I'm gonna click OK. Let's test it on another drawing now. So that way we know it works 100%, right? So let's select our viewport. Let's see if we have, yeah, we're missing the civil scales 1 to 20, 1 to 30, and so on. So let's use our lazy scales. Let's click on it. And now, here we go, guys. All of the different scales with one single click. Now, before we finish streamlining this, there is something to this code that I would like to add also. And it's basically a message or something, right? The idea is that once you use this command, so I'm going to paste it first, like so, you will get an alert or a message, right? About what happened, right? So we can say something like scales added to this drawing, right? And we can hit OK. So that way, when we go to a different drawing, the scales that we need, let's go and expand. As you can see, there is no civil scales. It's not a problem because now our lazy scales is telling us that scales added to this drawing. And when we hit OK, and we can see that our civil scales were immediately added to this drawing with one single click. Isn't that great, guys?